Oh shit, I think we live up in this camp. Fight fans, what it do, man? Just thought I'd get on here, man, share some of my thoughts about this upcoming fight with Errol Spence and Kell Brook, y'all. Hey man, it's prediction times, yo. I've been trying to do this prediction for the last couple of days for those who are wondering, man. But now I've been able to get YouTube to play ball with me, man. I don't know what the hell's been going on. I don't even know if this joint is live right now. But if it is what it is. And hats off to everybody out there. What's up with y'all, man? Let's talk about this Kell Brook and Errol Spence thing, man. Hell yeah. Look here, yo. First and foremost, man, hats off to both of these fighters, man. They have found one another. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling y'all something, man. These two dudes could have easily pivoted out of this situation right here, man. So I want to first off give a hats off to both of these dudes, man. They could have easily pivoted out of this situation. Kell Brook had so many offers and so many other opportunities in which he could have took. Of course, the Amir Khan situation, he wanted to unify with other champions, but just like every other time in the past, nobody wanted to unify with Kell Brook, man. He could have went down that path. He could have took off and went to 154, man, but he didn't, man. He did what he had to do to get back down to fucking welterweight and to take on the young, hungry lion in Errol Spence, man. Not a lot of fighters, and you clearly hear a lot of fighters nowadays talking about this. Oh, I don't suggest it. I wouldn't have done it. But guess who done it, man? Kell Brook, man. So y'all need to stop disrespecting that dude, man. Real talk. And the same thing for Errol Spence, man. Errol Spence, dude, hey, this dude could have took another road if he wanted to. He's ranked real high by most of the sanctioning bodies. He could have went a zillion other routes. He could have took step-aside money. He could have did so much stuff, man. But that dude stood in there, was inactive for quite some time at this point. He hung in there, and he did what he had to do, and he made this fucking fight. So hats off to both camps, man, however you feel about it, man. To all the Kell Brook naysayers, man, how do you like me now? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell y'all something, man. Y'all were the ones out there, he won't fight Errol Spence. He won't make weight. He's going to use medical extension excuses. We heard it all, man. But guess what? Kell Brook made this fucking fight, shocking all of y'all. So y'all American fans, man, I don't know what it is about y'all, man. Y'all got something against Kell Brook, man. I don't understand it. But, yo, this shit ain't right, man. You know what I'm saying? The dude is avoided. When we talk about guys like Regendow, he gets all the props in the fucking world, man. And he's avoided, too. The same way Kell Brook was, man. Ain't no fucking difference, yo. Oh, man. Hell, Diego Chavez, Brandon Rios, Devin Alexander. Let's give me more names. Jesse Vargas. He could have fought any of these guys. Well, there's a true story to every one of those fights, man. No one gives Kell Brook the benefit of the doubt for being stabbed in the leg by a fucking machete, damn near not walking again, probably told he'll never walk again. He's fighting JoJo Dan, Frankie Gavin, whatever the fuck, man. He couldn't get no competition, so he went up there and he fought Gennady Golovkin, man. On top of that, you had the Brexit situation going down at the time where he was not going to make no money. So what did he do? He went up there and he got that bag of money, man. Show Kell Brook some fucking respect to all the American fans. That's all I'm saying. I see you, Moses. Yeah, man. Brook by decision. Good call, man. I'm about to get to that in a second. In the last fight between Kell Brook and Gennady Golovkin, I literally threw logic out the window, ladies and gentlemen. I knew exactly what the fuck was going on, man. Kell Brook going up to fight a true middleweight, a guy who had much bigger bone structure, somebody whom I knew Kell Brook would not win. But of course, I rooted for Kell Brook, and I gave y'all detailed on how I think Kell Brook would win. Damn near I was wrong, but I knew in that particular case, man, that I threw logic out the window. Chocolate brownies in that face, you motherfucking right. We gonna get to the strategy, y'all. But I ain't throwing logic out the window this time, y'all. We're gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna try to do this as non-biased as possible, you know what I'm saying? And I am not throwing logic out the window. First off, let me just say, man, the winner of this particular fight will be the number 2 at welterweight. I don't know what people getting this thing about. They're gonna be number 1 at welterweight. I don't think either man, either with a win over each other, has done more than what Keith one-time Thurman has done. Even if Errol Spence won, I mean, he's never faced world-class competition. So, quite honestly, man, that shit ain't gonna mean nothing. You know what I mean? You got Keith one-time Thurman, who defeated Showtime Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. Those are his 2 claims to fame, right? Well, Errol Spence will just have Kell Brook. And if Kell Brook wins, he defeated Sean Porter and he defeated Errol Spence. But however, when you throw in that Keith one-time Thurman also beat Robert Guerrero, Luis Collazo, as well as Diego Chavez, then ladies and gentlemen, I think, in my opinion, that still remains Keith Thurman will remain the number 1 welterweight in the country. Now, let's move on, man, to that public workout first and foremost. The one that went down yesterday, man. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, man. But, when I saw that, man, I took a few takeaways from that particular workout, man. Yeah, he couldn't knock Brook out. That means a lot. Brook's chin is going to be key in this particular fight, ladies and gentlemen. But let me just say, from that public workout, man, the thing that takes away from that public workout more than anything, and I see people talking about that today, yo, what is going on with Errol Spence's weight, man? Errol Spence looked a little small in that particular thing, man. I'm sorry, y'all. Everybody likes to say, well, Kell Brook was going to struggle to make weight and this, that, and the third. I'm looking at Errol Spence like, yo, he looks a little, he looked a little dehydrated there. He looked a little sunken in there, you know what I'm saying? And we've been focusing so much on Kell Brook's weight. Then what the fuck is going on with Errol Spence's weight? You know what I'm saying? Spence looked very, very small at that public workout, man. I know, don't read much into it. We're right before the weigh-in. I know they're dehydrated. I got it, ladies and gentlemen. But the fact still remains, man. Something is going on with Errol Spence's weight. I don't know if he's rushing to make it, but he does look lethargic. He does look a little jet lagged. And on top of that, he looks small, man, in my opinion, man. Also, what I took away from that public workout, I don't know if y'all noticed it, but I know we don't get much from these workouts. They're mainly publicity stunts. I totally understand that. But however, Kell Brook, man, was swinging one punch the entire public workout. Go back and watch it. All he did was swing jabs. It even led to a little bit of speculation that is his right hand hurt, you know what I mean? In which we know his right hand can't be hurt for this fight. But I don't think that is the case. Clearly, neither man was showing much on their game plans at their public workout. But I did think I took away that Kell Brook was only throwing literally one punch, and that was the jab. And whenever Dominique Ingle would back off him, he just mosey around the ring. On the Errol Spence side, though we didn't see much, but the one takeaway that I noticed, and I think it was, I don't know which commentator had brought this up, but this was real talk. What I noticed between Errol Spence and Derrick James at that public workout was that Derrick James was holding his hand up high and he was backing up, meaning that Errol Spence was punching high into a fighter who was retreating. Now, I've been told by many boxers over time, ladies and gentlemen, the way you train is fight specific. You got to train exactly how you're going to fight. And at that public workout, Errol Spence was punching high at an opponent who was backing off. Are they expecting Kell Brook to be doing a lot of backing off in this particular situation, ladies and gentlemen? That's very interesting. But Kell Brook is shorter than Errol Spence. And why is Errol Spence training to fight a guy who's a bit taller than him, man? That was concerning, and that was one of the things that I took away from that public workout. However, to the UK fan base out there, man, y'all are showing Errol Spence major love. I see the crowds gathering around him, man, taking pictures and autographs and stuff. That's what that kid needs, and that's what that kid deserves. But, you know, I ain't trying to be funny, but a lot of them look like Amir Khan fans, man. I'm just saying, man. A lot of those British fans who was over there crowding around Errol Spence looked like they was from the Khan side of the tracks. I mean, you know, but whatever the fuck, man. Let's get to the fighters, yo. There's a lot of fucking unknowns that's going to be going down in this particular fight, y'all. Lots of unknowns that we do not know about either fighter. The very first question that comes to me is that how will the weight loss affect not only Kell Brook, but how will the weight loss... Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with you, Chris, man. I'm not expecting much from the public workouts, but I'm just saying, you're supposed to train exactly how you're going to be fighting the fight. And the mitts were high, and Derrick James was doing a lot of backing up, man. Is Kell Brook going to be fighting in that manner? I mean, is Kell Brook tall? I mean, he's not tall, and I'm just saying, there's something I noticed. But back to the unknowns of this fight, y'all. How would the weight loss affect not only Kell Brook, but how would it also affect Errol Spence? You know what I'm saying? That is something that no one is even talking about. How would the rehydration, we all know with the IBF that these guys can't come in the next morning to 10 pounds over their weight, which would be 157. How will it affect not only Brook, but also Errol Spence? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it should be specific. It should be fight specific. You know what I mean? And they wasn't training in that way, y'all. I'm sorry. Just something I noticed. Also, the unknowns in this particular fight. How many headbutts would there be, man? We have a southpaw fighter versus an orthodox fighter. Headbutt central. You know what I'm saying? Terrence Crawford should definitely be going to Julius Ndongo as fast as possible, man. Give him whatever he needs to become undisputed, because once Terrence Crawford comes up to welterweight, he will have a much stronger negotiating hand. But once again, like I said before, the unknowns of this thing, man, the headbutts. How many headbutts are there going to be in this particular fight, y'all? They're going to be headbutts left and right, man. That can affect the course of this fight. Either man can be knocked off their game plan or whatever they're doing, whether they're up or down, through headbutts, man. Also, the inactivity of both fighters. Neither fighters have been in the ring lately, you know what I mean? In which Errol Spence has been waiting on Kell Brook. Kell Brook was trying to get the weight off as well as get that eye to heel. How will that affect this fight? You know what I'm saying? Spence's left hand versus Brook's right eye. That is the key, ladies and gentlemen. How will Spence's left hand do on Brook's right eye, man? That is the number one question. We all know Errol Spence is a southpaw. He uses his left hand very, very well, man. How will Kell Brook's right eye hold up to Errol Spence's left hand? Does Errol Spence need a wide victory in this particular fight, man? That's the good question. Does, some people accusing the UK judges of possibly going to rob Errol Spence in this particular situation. Now, I'm going to say this to any UK judge or anybody who know a UK judge, man. I'm going to say this, yo. All eyes and ears are on you, UK. Your reputation is definitely on the line. If you rob this kid of that fight, the whole world will know it, and trust and believe no profitable American fighter will ever want to come over to the UK and fight again. So if the UK is smart, they will have their judges on their shit and not rob this kid if it comes down to a close fight. I'm just saying, because everybody's fucking watching. Also, the unknowns in this fight, Kell Brook injuries. How will Kell Brook injuries play a part in this fight? In the past, his former rib and his leg injuries haven't shown any flashes ever since it happened, so I don't expect those to be an issue. But of course, the eye injury is just something that we don't know. And last but not least of the unknowns, 8-ounce gloves, man. Evidently, it was said that Kell Brook was the one that chose the 8-ounce gloves. So does he think he's the stronger fighter? Clearly, Kell Brook is going to come into this fight thinking he is the stronger fighter because he is the one that wants the smaller gloves, man. I don't know, man. That's something that's going to be interesting. Okay, let's get to the fights. Pros and cons of each fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, the cons of Errol Spence. What I've noticed that Errol Spence does wrong, man. The cons of Errol Spence is, first off, he faced no big punches, man. The kid has never faced no big punches. Hats off to Errol Spence for beating Chris Algieri and fucking Leonard Bundu. But truth be told, though Chris Algieri is a former champion, he's a fucking pillow puncher. Though Leonard Bundu is a experienced fighter, he's a fucking pillow puncher. You know what I'm saying? We seen Emmanuel Larte, the one shot heard around the world throughout Errol Spence's career. He was getting, he got hurt by Emmanuel Larte, and everyone likes to remember that, man. Don't read too much into that. Everybody gets caught with a good shot on the way up. Kell Brook has been knocked on his ass by lesser fighters, ladies and gentlemen. So for everyone who wants to go to that Emmanuel Larte, that one shot, there's a lot of evidence against Kell Brook from his past that he's been knocked on his ass by C to B level fighters. So let's not forget that, man. Also, another con for Errol Spence, man. His head movement going backwards. The kid gets tagged when he backs up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The kid gets tagged when he backs up. For some reason, when Errol Spence backs up, he's not the same fighter as he is when he's coming forward. You know what I mean? So when he takes a step back, the dude gets touched. And that's going to be key in this particular fight. And I think the reason of that, because Errol Spence's stance, man, his stance is so goddamn wide. He relies so much on that front foot, man, and he keeps a wide stance that when it's time for him to get out of there, he gets touched a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that's just being honest with you. Errol Spence gets countered also. If you go back to the Leonard Bundu fight, Leonard Bundu, there's a belief out there that Errol Spence whitewashed Leonard Bundu. I challenge people to go to the second and the fourth rounds of the Leonard Bundu fight, and you will see that Errol Spence was getting countered left and right, man, in that particular fight. That's the one thing that I take away from Leonard Bundu, man, that he was countering the shit out of Errol Spence, man. It's truth be told, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Errol Spence gets countered, you know what I mean? And it's usually when he does the single jab, not so much the double jab. When he goes to that single jab, to me, I think Errol Spence leaves it out there a half a millisecond too long, and he always tends to get countered, especially when he tries to get out. And of course, like I said before, his wide stance. So those are some of the cons that I've noticed about Errol Spence. And notice, ladies and gentlemen, that the list is not that long, you know what I mean? Because there ain't many cons that I got for Errol Spence. Real talk, but there is a hell of a lot of pros. Let's talk to the pros of Errol Spence. Errol Spence's body work, man. Errol Spence's body work, ladies and gentlemen, is fucking relentless. It's not only good, it's relentless. You know what I mean? There's a difference between good and relentless. I mean by he never stops. He keeps coming. Keeps coming constantly. Body work. Each and every round. Body work. Whole game plan revolves around body work. You know what I'm saying? That is dangerous. That is fucking dangerous when it comes to Kell Brook. Errol Spence is the most relentless body puncher at welterweight, possibly in boxing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I said it. Fucking yes, I said it, man. And let me say something about Errol Spence to everybody. I'm going to go off script here for a second. You know, let's not fool ourselves here, man. Earl Spence should be a scholar. He should be a straight A student. You know why I say that? Because he passes mine and yours and everybody else's eye test. And that's what we go off. We go off the eye test. He passes everybody's eye test with flying colors. We just don't know that, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to put that out there. Let's get back on script. The pros of Errol Spence. Also, Errol Spence, he uses the jab to get in close. He never walks in through the front door without using the jab. Whether it's single or double, he always works behind his jab. But he's a taller guy, and he'll be taller than Brook. He'll be using the jab to get to the inside. You know what I'm saying? We seen at the press conference today what Errol Spence had to say. He'll be doing a lot of fighting on the inside. You know what I mean? Something that Kell Brook needs to be aware of, and I will bring that up again. Errol Spence is hungry for a title. He's starving, ladies and gentlemen. He's fucking hungry. He is starving for a title. That is always dangerous when you have an up-and-coming fighter that is starving for a title. That he pushed away step-aside money. He pushed away other opposition. He pushed away interim fights. And he is starving for a world title. Very, very dangerous, and that's a good thing for Errol Spence. He's a great hooker. He hooks better than anybody possibly at welterweight. He has possibly the best left hooker, aside from Danny Garcia, at welterweight, and that's just being real. But however, Errol Spence needs you to be stationary in order for him to land those hooks, man. But he is, no doubt, a good hooker. Errol Spence has not been injured throughout his career. We've heard no stories of Errol Spence being injured in sparring. We heard the legendary sparring stories. Nothing of him ever being injured throughout his career. And most importantly, Errol Spence doesn't buy the hype about himself. He let the boxers say it, he let the promoters say it, he let the commentators say it, but he doesn't buy it. He doesn't play into it. I heard somebody over there say, oh, well, you gave Floyd Mayweather a black eye. Errol Spence just looked at him like, I don't remember saying that, but if you want to say it, then fuck it. That's a lot of you fanboys out there, man. Y'all out there, y'all have changed the story so many goddamn times. 1 minute, Errol Spence hurt Broner. Next minute, he knocks out, he stops Broner. We don't know that. 1 minute, Errol Spence hurts Mayweather. Then that develops into he knocks down Mayweather. Then it developed into he gave Mayweather a black eye. Mayweather kicked him out the ring. He brought him back and tried to sign him. These are some unbelievable stories revolving Errol Spence, ladies and gentlemen. But however, none of us have proof. None of us have ever seen so much of a small video of it. But y'all taking it and running with it, man. Y'all to be ashamed of yourself. Fanboys, boy, I tell you. All right, Kell Brook, man. The cons of Kell Brook. What does Kell Brook do wrong? What have I noticed that Kell Brook does wrong? First off, Kell Brook gets hit to the body way too often. I repeat, way too often, man. Sean Porter, the successes he had in the fight between him and Kell Brook mainly revolved around Sean Porter's body work, man. Kell Brook takes body punches not too well, because if you look at him, whenever Kell Brook gets hits to the body, he just takes them in a way that you can tell that they really fucking hurt him, man. For some reason, Kell Brook is soft right up in here. I noticed that in his previous fights. It's something about this area about Kell Brook. He is very soft, and when he gets touched right there, it affects him, man. And he gets hit to the body way too often. And on top of that, he doesn't go to the body nearly enough. You know what I mean? That is something that's going to be key in this fight. You got to take the wind out of this kid's sails, man. You got to hit this kid in the gut. You got to take something away from Errol Spence, man. If you do not touch Errol Spence in the gut sometime throughout this fight, more often than you usually do, I'm telling you, you don't want a full speed ahead Errol Spence coming at you later on in this fight. Kell Brook needs to hit the body more often than he usually does. Kell Brook scares me. This is a big con from Kell Brook. The thing is that Errol Spence, this is going to be why I have a lot of you here listening. Listen to this. This is key. Errol Spence, Derrick James, key to victory, their main key to victory, you heard it here, will be that Errol Spence will look to make Kell Brook stationary. The second that Kell Brook is stationary, it's going to play right into the game plan of Errol Spence and Derrick James. We've already heard it. We've already seen the vids. They want Kell Brook. Kell Brook has this thing what he does. He takes a step back, he stops, he leans back, and then he turns his head. You know what I'm saying? And usually that turn right there is the one thing that keeps that punch from barely hitting Kell Brook. And he measures it very, 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 very well, I must say. But I'm going to tell you something. The second you become stationary against Errol Spence, there's going to be a humongous problem, because Errol Spence is looking to get you stationary, not moving, and only moving at the waist. Once he got you there, he will measure you, pow, measure you, pow. You know what I'm saying? And that is what he is looking to do. If Kell Brook does not use his footwork, we heard Errol Spence in the face-off, in the press conference, stand in the middle of the ring, don't run. If Kell Brook do that, you a fucking dumbass, man. You better use your feet. Just do not get caught up on the ropes. And most importantly, Kell Brook, do not be stationary, man. That don't become a stationary fighter. Because the second you're not moving, the second you're just moving at the waistline, that's where Errol Spence shines. Let me tell you something. When Errol Spence gets close up on his opponents and his opponents start to tighten up and they become stationary, that's where he tees off with his hooks to the body and his hooks upstairs. So it will be in Kell Brook's interest to please watch and move his feet more often. Do not be doing that stop, plant, lean, turn shit that he always does, man. I just really, really do not suggest that in this particular fight. Kell Brook leans at the waist, man. That is a con of Kell Brook. And also Kell Brook fatigues late. Those are some of the things that I've noticed that Kell Brook does wrong. Now, what does Kell Brook do well? Kell Brook has the stiffest jab at welterweight. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is no fighter at welterweight that can out-jab Kell Brook, in my opinion. Kell Brook's jab is so stiff that it's not only stiff, it's accurate, it's lightning fast, and it's always followed by that right hand. But the jab of Kell Brook is easily, in my opinion, the best jab at welterweight. Kell Brook has great footwork. Kell Brook punches straight as opposed to looping punches. When you're going from point A to point B, the fastest way to get from A to B is in a straight line. That is going to be key for Kell Brook, in which his jabs and his straight right hand is just crisp and they're stiff and they're very straight, and he will be beating Errol Spence to the punch, in my opinion, a lot in this particular fight. Also, it's going to help him when he needs to counter. Kell Brook is a big welterweight, and he's usually strong enough to hold his opposition. But however, in Errol Spence's case, I don't think he wants to do that, because I really feel that Errol Spence will be fighting from a bit of a distance. He's the taller, longer fighter. Though Errol Spence likes to get in close, and but he starts off tall and he makes himself short because, for some reason, Errol Spence just, like I said, he gives up a lot of real estate and he wants to get in close on you so he can do his body work, man. But he can also do it from distance. So I do not suggest Kell Brook to be doing a bunch of holding in this fight, but he's usually strong enough to hold all of his opponents, man. What else does Kell Brook has over Errol Spence? The experience. That's the number one thing. Kell Brook has been on the world stage before. He's been in big fights. He's been on pay-per-view. He's been against Golovkin. He's been in hostile environments. The experience of Kell Brook will definitely be more than what Errol Spence has done. Errol Spence always like to go, oh, well, I was in the Olympics and I fought in the UK. That's all cool, man. But that ain't nothing compared to what you're about to walk into up in Bramall Lane on Saturday night, man. So Kell Brook has the experience, and most importantly, Kell Spence has the combinations. Keys to victory to both fighters. We are getting close to the end to a prediction, y'all. Keys to victory to both fighters. Kell Brook will need to move to the left, counter with the right. Hands down. People saying, man, are you tripping? Errol Spence is a southpaw. No, Kell Brook will need to take a step to the left so that right hand can be coming straight down the pipe, ladies and gentlemen. I hope Kell Brook manages to take one step to the left, bam, straight down the pipe. Kell Brook will need to counter between Errol Spence's double jab. One thing that Errol Spence loves to do, double up the jab just to get in close, keep you guessing, keeping you tighten up. And what does that double jab always tends to do, ladies and gentlemen? It makes his opponents stationary. You know what I'm saying? Well, Kell Brook needs to be countering uppercuts. Absolutely, Mr. Winslow. Uppercuts, and also straight right hands. He's going to have to be countering through the double jab of Errol Spence, man. He needs to do that. Clearly, I believe that Kell Brook will have the faster hands in this particular fight. I think he has the hand speeds, and he will throw the faster combinations. Please, get between those double jabs. Stop Errol Spence's rhythm early. He cannot allow this young southpaw to get into a rhythm early. He must disrupt the rhythm with counter shots, ladies and gentlemen. I think also keys to victory for Kell Brook in this fight, the right hand counter with body work. You know what I'm saying? So he would need to not only counter with the right hand, but he's going to have to not just end it there. He's going to have to put some body work on this kid Spence, man. He's got to take some of the wind out of his sails, and he's got to show this kid, yo, this ain't your normal opponent. I'm going to keep your ass honest. There ain't an opponent on Errol Spence's resume that has ever kept the kid honest, man. Kell Brook has got to show this kid early, round one, round two, that, look, I'm going to keep you honest. You're not walking in the front door. You're not walking me down. You're not dictating the pace of this fight. I run this house. That's how Kell Brook has got to play the fight early, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. He must back Errol Spence up. And that goes back into keeping him honest. But he has to start to back Errol Spence up, something also very rarely done by a lot of the Errol Spence opponents, man. They have yet to keep him honest, and not many of them try to back him up. They don't want to go blow for blow with this kid, Errol Spence, man. But Kell Brook has got to show that he is the special one that is willing to get in there and do that. He is going to have to be the one to get in there and back up Errol Spence earlier on in this fight. Keep Errol Spence honest, man. You know what I mean? Don't go in there on some, yo, you're a normal opponent type thing. No, bruh. Keep him honest. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, Kell Brook has got to dictate pace in this fight. He will not win if he does not dictate pace. If he allow this kid to dictate the pace, backing up constantly, backing himself into the ropes, I agree. The Keith Thurman game plan is beautiful, man. I can't disagree with that one bit. Meaning come and jump on Spence immediately. Absolutely. Jump on him immediately, man. Do not allow this kid to get comfortable, get into a rhythm, because like I've heard someone say before, once you let a southpaw get into a rhythm, that is the most dangerous thing in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Kell Brook is going to, like I said, hit the body more than usual. He's going to have to dictate pace, keep Errol Spence honest, hit him hard early, and if Kell Brook do these things, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that Kell Brook will be victorious. As for Errol Spence, what does Errol Spence need to do to beat Kell Brook? In my opinion, Errol Spence wants Brook stationary, moving at the hip. That is the main key. The second that he can get Kell Brook from moving his feet, this will play right into the game plan of Errol Spence and Dominique James, man. Real talk, because, Derrick James. This will play right into their game plan, man, because they want Brook to become stationary. They want him to stand in the middle of the ring and just stand right there and go toe-to-toe. Errol Spence is going to have to approach Kell Brook from angles. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If he stands right there in front of Kell Brook, setting himself up with them right hands, allowing Kell Brook to step to the side and put his right hand right in the middle of him, that's going to be a problem. When he approaches Kell Brook, it must always, I repeat, always be from a angle, man. He should drown Kell Brook in the middle to the late end of the fight is where I think he should drown Kell Brook to the body. That's where usually Kell Brook, I said he's usually vulnerable in the middle of the body for some reason. But one thing I do know is that if Errol Spence wants to have a lot of success with Kell Brook, body work will be key. We hear Errol Spence talking. He will be going to the body a lot in this fight. Middle to late rounds should be the main areas where Errol Spence is digging to the body. Not so much earlier on, but middle to late rounds after Kell Brook has expended a lot of energy. If he starts to work the body more, cutting the ring off properly, that could be problems for Kell Brook. Errol Spence is dangerous when he double jabs. He double jabs, keeps his man stationary. They don't know if he's coming high or if he's coming low. He needs to do that often and watch for counter shots from Kell Brook. Errol Spence is the taller fighter, but he does much more damage on the inside. I think Errol Spence will be doing a lot of attempts to try to get into the inside of Kell Brook. And that's where he does most of his damage at. Kell Brook needs to be aware of that. That's where Errol Spence loves to shine at, when he gets on the inside. And needless to say, Errol Spence needs to be looking for every opportunity that he can take to get to the inside of Kell Brook. Even though he's the taller fighter. And I don't usually say that about taller fighters. That's funny. Errol Spence needs to use his power wisely. Do not overdo it. You know what I'm saying? I think Errol Spence, I said earlier on, he doesn't believe a lot of the hype that he gets. But one thing I think he knows is that he's a very powerful welterweight. And the one thing I would like to say to Errol Spence is that Errol Spence needs to conserve some of that power to the mid to later rounds of that fight. That's where it's going to count double time. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. And also, Errol Spence should look to dictate pace. The same way I said about Kell Brook. He cannot allow Kell Brook to get into that same kind of rhythm. And I believe if Errol Spence does these things, ladies and gentlemen, Errol Spence will be victorious. Now, the moment of truth. Main man, all that goddamn talking you've been doing. You've been talking our heads off, talking all this other shit. Motherfucker, who you got? You know what I mean? That's what y'all wonder. Keep it 1 million. Who you got? Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I told y'all before at the beginning of this video, I am not throwing logic out the window in this particular case. Everything that I have read to you, everything that I have seen to this point is leading up to the final press conference that just went down. I do believe Kell Brook will make weight, given that a couple days ago he was standing at, 148.2. I believe that the winner of this fight, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this fight, in my opinion, in Main Man Made Man's opinion. I hear you, Steven. Kell Brook wins by TKO in the 9th round. That's a good one. I'm gonna rock with my main man, Kell Brook. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Y'all should have known. I know I'm a loyal motherfucker. I don't just jump ship, but not only just for that reason, because I'm not throwing logic out the window. I truly believe that Kell Brook made the weight properly. The number one thing, y'all, that was discounting y'all against him, against Errol Spence, thinking that this guy would be weight drained. He's made weight. We've got reports out that his 10-week training camp, this dude was out in Spain weeks before that, getting himself together, eating that fresh fish that they catch in the water every day. Kell Brook has been putting too much hard work in the gym for him to lose this fight, ladies and gentlemen. You got to go with the logic. Kell Brook looks like he's made the weight more comfortably, more safely. Kell Brook has, in my opinion, the better skill set. You know what I'm saying? And if you think of a better skill set to fight a puncher like Errol Spence, that would be a counter puncher. Kell Brook has the faster hand speed, in my opinion. I'm not even going to use the experience factor, but fuck who they fought before now. You know what I'm saying? Given the skill set of each man, Kell Brook being a dynamic counterpuncher, having a dynamic jab. Errol Spence, a body snatcher. You know what I'm saying? No ifs, ands, or buts. But he gets countered frequently, man. That is what led to my decision, man. You know, you got to go with logic, man. You got to go with logic. Fuck all that love. Fuck all that emotion. Style to style. Kell Brook's style for Errol Spence is just better, in my opinion. And that's just keeping it 1 milli with y'all, man. I mean, look, if whoever loses this fight, I'm still a fan. And it's hard for me to root against Errol Spence. Y'all don't get that shit, man. I'm not like most Brook fans. I actually have a lot of respect for Errol Spence. I got nothing but love for that kid. And if he was fighting against anybody else, I'd be down for him hands down. But when it comes to Kell Brook and the style that he employs, I think Kell Brook is going to have the hand speed advantage. He was going to have the counter punching advantage. He's going to be smart enough to know not to stand in front of this kid. I don't know if he's baiting this kid on by making him believe that he's going to stand in front of him. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, that would be interesting, Steven. That would be very interesting. I may just do that, man. I'm telling y'all, man, I just think stylistically, man, Kell Brook has the advantage, man. I think Errol Spence will go in there and pull a valiant effort. Now, this is why I differ from most. I don't think Kell Brook stops Errol Spence. Reason being, I think he'll be too confused with so much of other things that he's not going to look to stop Errol Spence. I think he keeps him honest at times, maybe, but I don't think he stops Errol Spence. I think this thing goes to a UD, give or take 8-4, maybe even a 7-5. But I think Errol Spence will have most of his successes in the fight in the mid to later portion of the fight. Earlier on, I think Kell Brook will have the advantages in hand speed too much, and Kell Brook just knows exactly what he wants to go in there and do, man. I'm telling y'all, man, I'm looking at Errol Spence, man, and he does look small. He does look drained. I'm not saying that he will look like that on fight night. I'm just saying that today it doesn't look like he did the weight as properly as Kell Brook. It's just, I mean, I just got to be honest here. You know what I'm saying? But both men still good fighters, win, lose, or draw. George Groves, fourth time is the charm for George Groves, man. George Groves better win this time, man. You know what I'm saying? Or if he doesn't win this time, that motherfucker need to go ahead and quit, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he always do look stoned, don't he? His beard with his thick glasses on, man, he be looking like he be roasted, man. Maybe that's why he always losing and shit, man. But the fact still remains, man. Errol Spence, Kell Brook, ladies and gentlemen, man, I've heard somebody say this, man. This fight feels special. I agree. This fight was very, very special. You know, regardless how you may feel about Kell Brook today, win, lose, or draw, you got to show some respect to the kid, man. The dude fought Errol Spence. Before that's Triple G. And before that, you know, though he went through his litany of bums, he fought Sean Porter, man. Spence looks stoned. He looks jet lagged. He looks weight drained. I will say that, man. And that should be causes for areas of concern, man. Spence should not be looking the way he looking, man. I mean, I've never seen him look like this before a fight, but I've also never seen Kell Brook look like this before a fight, man. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have my prediction right there, man. I'm going to come back on probably a little later on, man. Maybe do a live stream with y'all, man. I wanted to get this out, and I wanted to do this as a live stream. I've been trying to do this for days now, man. White Rhino, man. I need to up my game on White Rhino, man. Real talk, man. Hey. Kid look like he's promising. I will say that he's definitely looking like he's promising. But I look to try to get back up on here with y'all a little later on, man. It's been real, man. It's been real, man. This has been a real video. I'm looking forward to this fight. Looking forward to the weigh-in to see exactly what Brook comes in as, man. Yeah, he is funny as fuck, Steven. He's funny as hell, man. Hey, yo, Steven, man, what's going on with your man Anthony Joshua, man? I got a bone to pick with that dude, man. What's going on with Anthony Joshua, man? Real talk. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Y'all have been roasting me over Anthony Joshua. I ain't done with him. I ain't done with him. The Anthony Joshua hoax series will continue. I ain't done with him. I'm going to jump out there against my main man Wilder. It is what it is. Folks, thank y'all for rocking with me. That is my prediction. Thank you, everybody who commented, everybody who tuned in. I'm going to try to get back up on here again soon, man. Yo, man, it's all love. Y'all know y'all can get on here anytime. Hit me up. Call me whatever the fuck you want. Just don't call the cops. You know what I'm saying? I got nothing but love for each and every one of you. Enjoy the fight. Be back here for the post-fight. I'm doing a live stream for the post-fight. No ifs, ands, or buts. Be back here. We going to break this fucking thing down. Real shit. To the next video. Main Man Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe. Twitter, Made Man 511. Facebook, Main Man Made Man Boxing Forum. Google Plus, Main Man Made Man. Paul, I love you too, bruh. Keep on supporting it, and I got nothing but love. And still, Steven. And still. Tune in. Peace out.